God known to each of us provide the strength and wisdom to perform the duties and fulfill the responsibilities required by our oaths of office. May our actions be pleasing to God and meet the expectations of the citizens we serve. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead and call our meeting to order. Council members, you have before you minutes from June 17th, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Make a motion.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of minutes from June 17th. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are to public comments, and as a reminder on our agenda, there are requirements of the public comments limited to 3 minutes, so please keep comments to 3 minutes or under. The first on our agenda this evening is Larry K. Brumfield, 723 Merritt Street, Apartment B. You have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you. I have two topics I'd like to talk about tonight. Number one, I'd like to thank Mayor Tatum for supplying the food for the June Greater Barboursville Community Outreach Meal held at the Senior Center. And I'd like to thank Midway Hot Dogs for making very good hot dogs, because that was the main course. We had 71 diners at the Senior Center, 43 carryouts for a total of 122 meals. Then the second topic, excuse me, the second topic is that I'm very, very disappointed in that nothing at all was done about the issue that I raised last week about that dangerous situation on Main Street in front of David Hill Limited. And that had to do with the missing brick right in the middle of the sidewalk. And then I was thinking perhaps, the words that I used weren't good enough to convey the seriousness of the problem. So I took some pictures and made this handout, and on it I pretty much said what I said at the last city council meeting. But here are words and pictures, so I hope you can see the seriousness of it. And I'd like for you to, stop by and take a look at it, and maybe talk to Michelle Hill about it. She will, inform you. There you go.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think it's serious. I could be wrong. Tell me if I am.
Thanks for being here this evening. Thanks for your comments.
Here you go.
Thank you.
All right.
I think it's serious, Chief. Honestly.
Brian Holly, 117 Nelson Court. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I'm Brian Holly. Some of you know will probably know that I'm the chairman of the Housing Authority that oversees the Village Manor. What I wanted to talk about is, we had talked once before in council meeting about the VA property that the VA was going to donate to the city. Well, I finally went and talked to Mr. Lyons again to find out what's going on with the property. And in his summation of everything is the wording of the original document that the city made with the VA said that you guys wanted to lease the property. The VA does not want to lease the property. They want to donate it. They want to be washing their hands of it. They want no liability, involved with it. And they said, because he said all it would take is to resend a new letter or whatever requesting that the property be donated, no words of leasing or anything like that. Then they would submit it to the real estate people. They also have just got another new secretary. So, but he said nothing is going to move at all with that property if they can't get the new paperwork filled out that says it's to be donated, not leased. They said they don't want it, and they have no use for it. So they've just been waiting. They said they didn't, his reason was we don't understand what's took the city so long at this point, so.
Well, I'm going to stop you and address you because we've never talked about leasing that property. It's always been discussed about giving it to the city. My emails, my documentation back that up. And I can also tell you out of the governor's office, they're not the governor's office that has to sign off on it, as not the cabinet secretary. There's a number of things that are being held up right now at the governor's office, not just our property and the donation of that property. And the reason I say that is because we've asked for a couple parcels of property, not just what the Veterans Administration. Mark Makovich, our city attorney, and I have been working on a property for 5 years or more, and we just got notification that we're going to be gifted the property in Barboursville Park. So I can tell you that with certainty that we've not ever discussed leasing that property. Our documentation says otherwise, and that's where we are.
Okay, because I asked him for copies of what he had, because
Yeah.
I've never heard of the leasing part.
Well,
And what he gave me was the same plot maps and stuff that I already had, so I
Right.
don't have.
Yeah, he probably does not have the documentation between myself and multiple cabinet secretaries
Yeah.
either, because they're not the one, the Veterans Home is not the entity who gets to make the decision whether to give that to the city or
Well,
not.
he said it had to go through all these different levels, it had to go through the real estate department. And then
And
it
he's
had to
right,
go
it has to go
up the
through the real
chain,
estate department,
and
and
then
it's
it wasn't
state,
gonna
and
go
it has to go
nowhere.
through the governor's office as well.
Because he was asking me what the survey stakes were for at the bottom of the hill,
Right.
because he thought that we had decided to build there, and I said, no, that's Cartmore Park, I don't know what's being done there. But,
Yeah.
and then another thing is, I'm getting my phone blown up by the tenants of the manor of what's going on behind us at the old cab company. Because they're upset over that alley. They would sometimes use that alley to set up a picnic table or whatever,
Right.
but now they're convinced that the city is going to give it to the, or not necessarily give it to, but allow because they're gonna put apartments in the bottom of that building. And there's not enough parking for the apartments they have. So that's gonna become all parking, there's not gonna be any grass areas.
There'll be grass
Do
area.
you
Actually,
have a drawing that I can show them?
No, there's no drawing, it's just gonna remain green space, and anything that's concreted, and anything will be created as parking, the alley's not closing. We're not deeding the alley to anyone, anything created parking wise will be open for anyone to park there.
Okay.
And there's gonna be a gazebo or some benches on the back side towards the fence, that people will be able to sit down, and there'll be green space there.
Okay.
And I've actually talked to 2 of your tenants about that.
Okay,
They call me.
because they're blowing me up over it, and I
Yeah.
told them, I don't have anything.
Yeah, tell me to call,
I don't have
I'm happy
anything
to answer any
writing,
questions they
To
have.
know what's going on even.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of them, but I think probably the word's gone through the manor now, since
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of them, actually yesterday and today.
Yeah, because we've had issues with that building before when Paula was
Right.
recorder, you know.
Yeah, it should be a very nice upgrade when they're done with their project.
Okay,
I mean, I'm actually excited about it, it won't be an eyesore anymore.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
Thanks for being here. Okay. There's nothing under, you guys have seen the work order list, and there are a couple things that I wanted to mention under departmental updates, and one of those is July 4th schedule, Friday, Friday, July 4th. Well, let me step back to July 3rd. The governor has given an extra holiday for government employees, so we're gonna follow suit, and we'll close for July the 3rd as well. I've already made the department heads aware. I sent a notification out to the employees and supervisors, the supervisor and leadership team. They'll complete all of their trash runs on Wednesday. They go through Thursday. So the only people affected will be Thursday, and any extra hauls and dumpster pickups for Friday will also be done on Wednesday. The push notification on the alert, the app, will go out to everyone this evening as well. But the employees will be notified. The employees will be notified in the morning. We have a staff meeting in the morning as well. But we will in fact be closed on the 3rd and 4th. And for the 4th, 5 p.m. food trucks start, 10 p.m. fireworks. And there's there's something else going on out there. I can't remember. There's something else going on that's independent of us. It's not us. So there'll be a decent amount of traffic in the park on Friday on July 4th. I'll also say to Officer Neese of the police department a couple of things. I shared it. The police department shared it today. There was an issue that was dealt with. I don't need to call attention to it. It's already out there, but they're doing their job, and we appreciate them keeping the village safe. And I'll also mention for Officer Neese and the department as a whole, you guys know there used to be a fishing derby at the park. Well, during COVID, it just went away. Mark Neese came to me about 6 or 8 months ago, maybe right after we hired him actually, and he said he wanted to revive the fishing derby. And it hadn't happened in a few years, and of course we put some money behind it, as we always did with the city, made a donation towards it. But he went out and got sponsorships from some people that I hooked him up with, and then independently on his own. They had over 150 kids. It was a huge success, and I want to make sure that we give Mark his just due in taking care of that event and reviving that. It was a huge success, and all of your officers were out there, Chief. I know that you guys were all out there, and I appreciate that. It was it's easy PR, low hanging fruit, but it was well received. So please make sure to tell him that.
Mark is one of the officers that is one of our new K9 handlers. You all rewarded him with the dog, and of course last night he really made a huge. He's a hunter. He's out here like an old school cop looking for bad guys, and Mark is just a breath of fresh air. He's an all-star. I think the world of him, and I know that he appreciates the fact that we were able to get that dog through you all and reward him with that. And he's found a home. He's going to stay here. So we're happy. We're tickled to death.
Yeah, make sure to pass along to your officers too for their involvement in the fishing tournament and the success of that.
Yes, sir.
Mark is to be commended for both of those things as well. We will have a work session before our next meeting. We'll start at, depending upon subject matter, we may start at 6 instead of 6:30, but the architects, you guys know, will be here at our next meeting. So 6 or 6:30, I'll get word out to you guys Monday at the latest, but plan on a work session before the next meeting. Also, Patrick, you had mentioned about Little League football. We've asked them for plans for their building, and Mike Knowles offered to help. Randy's reached out to them. As soon as we get those back, we'll get that moving, but we've asked them for several things that they've not provided yet. So that's all I wanted to mention under departmental updates. If there's any questions that you have for Danny or anyone else, please feel free to ask those. I'll also encourage you to please call, text, send work orders in if you see stuff that needs to be done. As you can see by the list of things going on, there's a lot going on because it's good weather time. So things that have been put into the queue in the last 2 weeks may not have gotten to the front of the line yet because the list is exponentially long, but we will get to those.
Is the big hole at the top of the Farmdale Bridge on the expansion joint on that list?
We've mentioned it to the Department of Highway.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know if that was.
There's a few things.
I didn't know if
Yeah,
that was you
thanks.
all or not.
New business, we have a couple of things. There's not much on our agenda tonight. We don't have old business. We do have items of new business. The first one is consideration of approval resolution 2025-22 for coal severance fund, budget revision number 1. And John, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
This is a requirement of the state to align the beginning fund balance with the ending fund balance. And so I'm making an approximation here as well, because we will still have to book a deposit from the coal severance tax in July, and because it's for the period prior to June 30. So this is just a $1,000 adjustment.
Need a motion for approval for that adjustment of $1,000.
Make that motion. Second.
A motion and a second for the approval of budget revision number 1 for the coal severance fund, 2025, and resolution number 1. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item is going to be on our agenda for quite a while, as you guys know. This is a payment application for the Pure Ridge Wastewater System Connect project. This payment, the contractor's application for payment is in the amount of $250,700.31. I'll entertain a motion to approve that pay request.
Make that motion. Second.
Motion and a second for the approval of resolution 2025-23.
John, you good for it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Right. Oh, by the way, well, I'll wait. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. One item that John and Holly and I did get notification of today is our first $5 million is actually on the way. So that's nice. We were a little worried after budget cuts and things, so, but John and Holly and I, all three kind of high-fived, I think, knowing that first $5 million allocation is actually on paper and coming to us now. We'll continue to keep up with the other $5 million that were promised. And the other one that John and I were talking about today is we're still waiting on the governor's office on that one.
The match.
The match for both of those, yeah. So. Anyway, but that was good news today that we're actually getting that first $5 million from the feds. So that's where we are. And we voted, right? Okay. We'll go to council comments. Rachel, we'll start with you.
Yes, we did.
Okay. I have to check myself
I think we
too.
did. Thank you all for being here this evening, and, we look forward to the 4th of July here in the village, and thank your department, chief, for everything they've been doing, and, that's all I have.
I'll say one other thing about 4th of July. We've put this out already, but there's been some questions about visibility of fireworks. Same plan as last year. So if you're over on this side of the hill or you're over on that side of the hill, you'll be able to see it. If you're in the Kroger parking lot, you'll be able to see it. So there's all kinds of vantage points. So if someone asks you, oh, you can see them at your house?
You can.
Are you serious?
You can see.
Oh, yeah.
Huh, okay.
That's the best.
We all go to John's. We all go to John's house.
Now they're not as impressive.
What's your food?
So we got John's on Friday then. Yeah. Anyway, if you hear or anybody's asking, or you see it on social media, somebody's asking, same plan as last year. Should be no visibility issues at all.
Thank you all for coming. I just want to thank your department, Darren, for what they did. I saw that on Facebook, and that was very impressive. So please thank them. Brian brought up a question that I was gonna ask, or a statement. The states that are at the Cartmel Park, who's doing that and why?
We're having a survey. Part of the veterans home is actually on us. We did not realize that. And
That
one,
part is?
well, the whole place that we had surveyed up there, yes. On the left-hand side where the parking lot is, their ramp that goes into their rec room, or their rec building, is on the city.
That's the,
So, in preparation for a few things, we wanted to make sure we had all of our ducks in a row for the state. We had that staked off, and Danny had it marked for us.
that's all I have. Thank you all for coming by this report.
A lot of things going on in town with all the water lines and everything else. I like being proactive, and, no one's sitting around doing nothing. Every time I'm around, somebody's working, and there's a lot of things going on everywhere, so it's pretty impressive. Again, Officer Neese for, being aware of his surroundings and protecting us, and then I gave Rachel a list of some complaints on some shrubs and whatnot that's blocking some views and some intersections. That's all I got.
Okay, I guess I'm up next.
You're up, Ricky.
Well, as I've been traveling in the last month, I've been to a little town in New York and a little huge town in Houston, Texas, and as you travel, you realize how much we all there say thank you, because this is really a nice and beautiful town. We got things going on, but I just say thank you guys for coming, but I just about how fortunate we are to have this small little town of Barboursville. It's very good. So thank you guys. You're up next, Becky.
You get to talk twice as long, though.
I got plenty to fill. I am gonna probably take one of his topics.
That's what I figured you would.
I am. No, Larry, thanks for coming out again and bringing stuff up, and keep it coming. The only thing we're gonna make things change is you keep on bringing stuff to our attention. So I appreciate it. Brian, thanks for being here. Nice to have you out. I did want to congratulate Village Care. I know you made front page on that, but
Oh, I didn't see it.
yeah, you made front
Yeah, I
page.
sure did.
Well, you'll have something for your garden.
But just congratulations to that. I'm glad they are investing in Barboursville, and
Yeah.
we are very lucky to have them. They have already invested way before this into the village, and a great asset we have, and just don't realize how big they really are. So.
We were talking about this, and the governor was there, and we had a nice conversation, and when they came to us and they got their first permits just to do the building that they originally moved into, I don't know if you heard Andrew's comments, but they were just kind of riding around in a truck one day talking about, let's do this home health thing. They were in 10 or 12 counties when they got their permits right after I was elected. They're in 22 states now. They're the fastest growing in America in home health, and by the end of the summer, they're likely to be in 30 states. It's incredible, and they talk about the what ifs. They talk about what if our grandparents all didn't get sick at the same time we were all hanging out together, those three guys, and it turned into why nots. It was a really good story, and it was a great day for the city, and if you've gone through that building, it's beautiful, and they'll have 20 or 30 more offices there, and between them, between the locations that they have in town, if you didn't know, they're moving their marketing and PR department into the building that's right at the end of Musgrave here.
Sounds up.
When it's all done, they'll have over 60 offices right here in town. It's an incredible story, and those guys are to be commended. They're all from right here, and it was cool too to see that 1861 and Kerber, and they opened early because they knew there was going to be an influx of people in town. They're typically not open on Mondays until 4 o'clock. So it's neat. It's kind of what Rick said. We're very fortunate to have what we have, and our business owners don't fight amongst each other. They all back each other up, and we're very lucky to have the place that we have. I would echo your sentiments, Patrick. And the sign's gorgeous, the building's gorgeous. If you get a chance, they'd be happy to show you through it.
Absolutely
It's
gorgeous.
awesome.
Yeah.
Department heads, you guys good this evening? Rooster, good to see you
I wanna
back.
thank-
I got one more. I got actually.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I got Donnie's spot.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot.
Now, speaking of how lucky we are and how well things are taken care of, initially you're talking about water lines and stuff. Leaving Huntington today, absolute mess. Everything was flooded. I'm glad I drive a truck. But as I was on my way home, I thought, today'd be a good day to go check Highland Park. So while it was still monsooning, I went up that way, no problems. I can't think of her name, the one that updates,
Yeah.
She was actually on her front porch, so I was able to yell at her, and she said, no, you didn't miss anything, no problems at all, the water went where it's supposed to. So she was very happy, so it's still holding tight, and I think it was a good test today, so.
Yeah, it was definitely a good
Yeah,
test.
I was just waiting for a good one, that was a good test.
Sherry Lewis.
Sherry lives that, yeah, I was able to catch her on the porch, that was great. And then just to let y'all know, this is Donnie's piece. We are represented well on the state level. We've had multiple teams, baseball and softball, win their district championships and district runner-ups, so there's lots of teams that are out there to represent
Some
us.
are playing tonight, actually, right? Are they playing tonight, the girls?
Softball, yeah.
I think the girls are out there
So, and
tonight.
there, like I said, there's at least 6 or 7 teams of all the age groups representing us, and 1 districts are runner-up, so we're well distributed out there and represented. So.
Our motto still holds true. They hate us because they hate us. Anyway, good meeting. Thanks everybody for being here. We'll adjourn this evening.